What's good, you two? And I'm back with another one. And let's talk about some real shit because I feel like this something, a lot of people need to hear because, nobody talks about this. See, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many cars you got, no matter how much jewelry you got, no matter how many women you got, that shit doesn't equal real happiness, bro. And, deep down inside, we already know this shit. See, here's the thing. You can have everything on the outside and still feel empty in the inside. And the crazy part is people will look at you like, oh, you made it, like you good, like, you don't got nothing to complain about just because you got money. But, you know, people always still feel like your life is perfect. When in reality, you still dealing with stuff mentally and emotionally that, nobody can see. But, nobody really checks on the man who, holding everything together. Nobody really asks, how he doing. Or, you know, nobody ever try to call and check up on them. And that starts to, do something to you internally. And you don't even say it out loud. And this is really the reality of being a man. And that's what I want to talk about because, a lot of people, especially women who ain't really been through or feel us, they don't understand what we deal with on a daily basis. You know, they don't understand, the pressure we have on our shoulders. They don't understand, the responsibilities we have. Waking up every day knowing people depending on you or people counting on you. Or just, someone trying to call on you for something, or you just trying to figure your life out in general and trying to, get self together as a young nigga, just trying to get shit right. And that's a different type of way. There's pressure on your shoulder that you can't even explain unless you really lived it. Because as a man, you don't always get the luxury of breaking down like how women do. We don't always get to say I'm tired and someone come save you. Nah, we gotta keep going and get up every day and do this shit for us, for whoever counting on us. Even when you're mentally on your last leg, even when you're exhausted, even when you really questioning everything, like why is this happening to me? And another thing, as an adult, your bills don't stop. Life doesn't slow down just because you overwhelmed and you going through something. But that pressure, and that thing you going through, don't let that shit stop you. Sometimes it builds character. And another thing I want to say, yeah, we got emotions too. Us men, we have emotions too. We feel pain, we feel doubt, we feel everything women feel too. And that's something women don't understand. Like just cause we men just we supposed to hold everything in. Nah, we have emotions too, just like y'all. So, you know, we have to, really sit and understand that. Cause we go through a lot of shit, if not worse than, women. And another thing I want to talk about, those silent battles, the nights you overthinking and the mornings you feel like you don't want to get up, but you do it anyway. And that's where, you wish somebody would just check on you, not because you need some, because you want to see if somebody really care about you or see if you straight and, just ask really how you feeling. But most of the time, nobody does. Nobody, you know, try to sit there and try to make sure you good. Nobody, you know, can really understand us as men. And sometimes we get used to carrying everything alone and going through it by ourselves. And another thing I want to say, let's be real about something. This materialistic shit, all this shit is temporary. All this shit is a distraction. Yeah, money helps. Yeah, it makes your life easier. But that shit doesn't bring real peace, bro. It doesn't fix what you got going on in the inside of you. You can buy whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. You know, you can do whatever and still feel empty. And another thing I want to say, the internet literally has everybody fooled. Like, I hate this fake Instagram facade. Like, social media got people thinking your life is supposed to be perfect all the time. Like, like everybody went, like everybody happy and got life figured out. That shit is not real, bro. You know, this shit is a highlight reel. And that's people showing what they want you to see, not what they actually going through. People only show the good part of their life. They don't show the bad shit. That's why I say Instagram is literally like a highlight reel. And now you got people comparing their life to somebody else. You know, a life they not really, living for real. You know, and that's something people have to really understand. Like everybody isn't always winning, bro. Everybody has their highs and lows, bro. So don't always think because you see some shit on IG or whatever that, oh, this nigga really having. No, that nigga going through shit too, just like you. And the crazy part is about life, you can be on your last leg, you can be mentally drained, and that's when everybody want to check on you. That's when people start noticing, something is off about you. Like something wrong with this nigga. Like he ain't feeling the same. He ain't moving right. You know, that's what we have to understand. You just be like, oh nah, I'm good. Like leave me alone. Not because you need help, but because you so used to dealing with everything by yourself. And you don't even know how to even open up no more. You don't even know where to start, bro. Cause you just be like, damn, bro, I'm so fucked up. Like nobody ever check on me or whatever. And you don't even know what to feel in the moment, or you don't know how to put it into words. And that right there, that shit is dangerous because you carrying everything, without no outlet, without a release, just having a lot on your shoulder. And let me say this too, because I've been really thinking about this heavy. You know, sometimes it feels like whatever you ask God for, He gives you the opposite. You know, you ask for peace, maybe your life will get harder. You ask for growth, you go through some type of struggle. You ask for, strength, and you get tested, bro. And what we gotta understand is that's preparation, bro. That's God building something in you. That's Him trying to strengthen you in ways we can't even see it yet. Even when you tired, even when you feel like you got nothing left, even when you question anything like, why am I going through this? Like, why is this happening to me? Your faith is being tested. And that's something I really had to realize. Like, when I was going through shit, I used to always think, like, why is this happening to me, bro? Like, sometimes it's God testing your faith, bro. And you always come out stronger every time. And that's something I realized. See, faith is all about trusting God, bro. But as men, we gotta understand something. We all have a purpose, bigger than money, bigger than clout, bigger than all this temporary shit. Yeah, life is hard, it's heavy. Sometimes it's unfair. Things don't always work out the way we want it to. But that pressure that we feel, that weight that we carry, it's not there for no reason. All that shit is shaping you, bruh. It's building you into somebody who God is calling you to be. Because in the end, you're going to come out stronger and better. And thank God you went through this. Because it built you into a better person. You know? So if you watching this and you feel like, you going through some shit, always know, like, you going to come out of every storm you go through, bro. Life isn't always perfect. We always going to go through some shit, bro. Life isn't easy at all, bro. And just because you're being strong, don't mean you gotta suffer in silence forever. Always talk to somebody or whatever. Don't hold that shit in, cause the longer you hold it in, the worse it's gonna get, bro. But make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe.